Mark Kaufman for WhiskyWhistle. Eau Claire Distillery Alberta Single Malt Whiskey Batch 1. It's sold out, but let's find out what it's like here on WhiskyWhistle. Hey my whiskey curious friends, hope you're doing all right. Mark here at WhiskyWhistle, your wise choice in independent whiskey and spirits reviews. Bringing you something a little bit different from Canada. I've got to put Canadian content, eh? I'm Canadian, what can I say? All right, now this is from Alberta and from a very interesting place. It's known as Turner Valley, fairly close to Calgary. Calgary is one of two main cities located in Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton. Anyway, this is their first whiskey, round about 3 years old, and this little sample comes from Josh at Know Your Whiskey. Can you see that there? Josh from Know Your Whiskey. You can find him on Instagram. Hi Josh, thank you so much for the samples. I've got this and one more from him. Let's get that open. It's sealed. Can I get it open? There we go. Josh, thank you so much. That's real nice of you. I would not have been able to try this otherwise. It's sold out. You can still buy some samples from the distillery. Check out the website, eauclairedistillery.ca. There we go. Okay, so it smells very interesting. It reminds me of Irish single malt. Cool. Okay, let's pour that into my Glencairn glass. I think I'll go about halfway in. That should be enough, and I'll save some for another time. And I'll reuse this little container. So very nice, not only the whiskey, but also the container I get to use. Let's set that little hat on there for a minute. Around about 3 years old, so we can leave that in there for about 3 minutes. Anyway, take a moment, check out Know Your Whiskey on Instagram. Very interesting fella. He's got some great photos on Instagram, and he's very approachable. So go ahead and send him a message if you want to, if you can, and tell him good job for sending Mark some great whiskey. And if you'd like to send me some whiskey, get in contact with me. You can get in touch with me here through YouTube, through my email for WhiskyWhistle, which is markswhiskywhistle@gmail.com, or through Twitter or Instagram. And in fact, now I've also added accounts on Reddit and on Snapchat, and what's the other one now? Quora. So you can find me on all those different sorts of streams through the magical thing called the internet. All right, good. Okay, so let's spend about 3 minutes. Let's check out the color first of all. Okay, well, oh shoot. Okay, okay, well, we'll try that in a minute. Okay, so again, fairly light color. That's probably going to be all natural color, I'd imagine. This is a farm to glass distillery. Farm to glass. They grow the whiskey. Sorry, they grow the whiskey. Wouldn't that be nice? They grow the barley. They malt the barley. They ferment the barley. Then they distill the fermented barley mash, and then they put that into oak casks and age it at their distillery. So pretty amazing. That's they put themselves in a very small community of whiskeys, distilleries that do that. So pretty amazing. By the way, this is 43% ABV. That seems to be the standard for single malt whiskeys in Canada, interestingly enough. Glen Breton from Glenora Distillery in Nova Scotia, and also two brewers from the Yukon Spirits Distillery in the Yukon Territories put out a lot of spirits at 43%. Now, I'm very happy with that because most Canadian whiskeys are simply 40%. So you're getting, well, 7.5% more, I guess, in some respects. And if you think about the cask strength whiskey, then you're actually getting probably about 10% more cask strength whiskey added. All right, let's leave that for one more minute with my Aquavitae challenge coin. This is number 146, by the way. Have you got an Aquavitae challenge coin? Which number have you got? If you haven't got one, check out Aquavitae on YouTube. And let's just smell that now. Oh, yes. Yeah, this really reminds me of Irish single malt. All right, Aquavitae, you can check out the spelling right there. Very, very active wood they've used. I believe that's going to be ex-bourbon. To my nose, yes, that's what it is. Ex-bourbon oak. I couldn't find that on the website. And I'm told that the bottle of this is $95 Canadian. And a lot of people have hemmed and hawed and complained about the price. But hey, this is batch 1. And they'll never have batch 1 again, and you can't get it now. So I think that's a fairly reasonable price for the first batch. Plus, I have to say, it's also farm to glass, which is very, very unique and really gives you a sense of the terroir of Alberta. And Alberta, as you may know, a very interesting place. It is where the prairies meet the mountains in Canada, the Rocky Mountains. So you got flat prairies in Alberta, and then you suddenly have these big, humongous mountains that everybody loves to ski on. All right, so I'm getting some effervescent, kind of like fizzy, or what's that word? Sherbety, kind of a fruitiness to it. And I get orange. Mostly yellow types of fruits. I want to say I smell some unripe mango. And orange, sweet orange, like navel. That's what I'm getting. Excuse me, I just had a highball of, what was that? The Cheetah. So that fizz is coming up here. And I'm not going to cut that out. All right, so some light spices there. Not very much cinnamon, just a hint there. A little bit of ginger. No other spices I'm noticing. That orange citrus is very prominent. Very nice oak they've used. And I would wonder, was that bourbon, was it a high rye bourbon? That might be part of that citrus type scent that I'm getting here. So 3 years old, you'd still have a lot of original distillate flavors and scents coming through. You'd also have a lot of the content from that oak that was left over. So if that's ex-bourbon, you'll still notice some very strong bourbon flavors. There's another whiskey that I tried that was very similar to this, and that was, boy, it had a skeleton on the label, and it was from some western state. They're really popular for beer. I can't think of the name of it now. They make an occasional whiskey, but they mainly focus on beer. Dead Guy Whiskey. I think that's what it was called. Dead Guy Whiskey. Oh, Rogue. Yes. Rogue Dead Guy Whiskey. I had the chance to try that in Korea, actually. I got to try that there. Very interesting. So this is somewhat similar to that Rogue Dead Guy Whiskey. I'd say this is probably a bit older, though. Oh, we forgot to look at the legs, didn't we? Okay, let's check out the legs of the Eau Claire Distillery. The first batch, the batch 1 from their Alberta single malt. They also make lots of gin and other spirits, so check out that website. Again, that was eauclairedistillery.com. Have you tried this too? Leave me a comment, please. Tell me what you think of the Eau Claire single malt. Okay, so the legs, get that ready. Okay, here we go. Pretty brisk first legs, as you might expect from a young whiskey, but fairly syrupy. They seem to hang on the glass pretty well. Nice, well-defined legs there. So hopefully that tells us that we'll have a nice mouthfeel. So let's see how that is, okay? All right, on to the nose. Oh, we already talked about the nose. On to the palate. Cheers, all. Thanks again, Josh. I think citrus is a good descriptor of this. Orange citrus. A little bit of mint. So a minty citrus. And it's still reminding me a lot of Irish whiskey, especially Teeling. Teeling single malt. And I really do think this was probably aged in a high rye bourbon cask. So if anybody can confirm that or refute it, love to hear from that too. Hear from you on that too. Okay, one more taste. Very juicy. And isn't this amazing? At 3 years old, it's pretty well mature. I'm not sure what the size of the oak was, the oak casks. Couldn't find that online easily. But I'm guessing they may have been smaller to help induce greater maturity at a younger age. Yeah, it doesn't have that that raw spirit type of flavor, so it's pretty nice. This acts more like, I would say, about a, I don't know, 6 to 8 year old single malt. And reminds me a fair bit of the Glenlivet First Fill Nadura, which is again probably about that 6 to 8 year old range, in my humble opinion. It's pretty nice. And the finish, again, fairly juicy. Citrus, a little bit of mint, very nice and sweet, so that's quite nice. Okay, we'll add a bit of water. Just a little bit. That was about, not quite, a little bit more than half a milliliter, 0.5 milliliters. Give that a quick stir. Now, before we check out the whiskey with water added, let's read a little bit about Eau Claire Distillery. Devoted to handcrafted, artisanal, and fine sipping spirits, Eau Claire Distillery is Alberta's original craft distillery, located in Turner Valley, not far from Calgary. Born out of the founder's quest to honor Alberta's riches of the land and set the bar for Canada's most premium spirits, every small batch from Eau Claire Distillery is personally tended for perfection, from farm to glass. Eau Claire Distillery's award-winning spirits are internationally acclaimed for their quality and flavor. Find out more at eauclairedistillery.ca. All right, so anyway, interesting stuff. Now, Alberta, as you may know, has quite a few, a couple at least, or 3 distilleries located in the province. You have Alberta Distillers, and I think there's one more. Anyway, so quite a, what can I call that? Quite a rich history of distilling in Alberta. All right, now let's check out that whiskey now with water added. Look at the steam. Can you see the steam that's developed in the glass there? So those whiskey vapors have really done their thing. Let's check that out. Interestingly, it's a little bit spicier with water added. A little bit more ginger. And Interestingly, also a little bit of this umami, kind of a savory note coming through now with water. And as you may know, there is a real delicate, ideal balance with sour and sweet and spicy and bitter and umami. Did I forget one? Salty. Yeah, this would be right at home in Ireland. Possibly also kind of like a lowland Scotch single malt. All right, everybody. Cheers once again, and thanks again, Josh. Really appreciate that. Sweet, spicy, minty, citrus. Nice flavors, and not really, again, not young. There's no young whiskey, no underage whiskey here. Pretty well matured for its young age, I should say. Now I wanted to read a couple of interesting, can I find it? Some interesting comments that were left on WhiskyWhistle in the last couple of days. So we have Haseo Anyang from Korea on my red versus red Johnny Walker Red Label versus Red Rye Finish whiskey review. He writes, she writes, she writes, he drank rye so much more, it is going to win. All right, so he noticed that I was drinking the Red Rye Finish a lot more than the original Red Label, and he's absolutely right. She's absolutely right that was my favorite among the two. And another Korean comment from Oh Minjae, person named Minjae Oh, sounds like a gentleman. He's commenting on my Glenfiddich 12-year-old review. He writes, I got a sky blue one, which is similar to Glenfiddich 12 years. It was really it was a really impressive review. I felt some kind of an oak and caramel something. That's all for me because I'm just a beginner when it comes to whiskey. If I'm going to take a shot with you together someday, it'll be a gorgeous experience. Thanks for a good review. Well, thank you, Minjae. Really appreciate that. Keep watching. Hope you enjoy the reviews. Christian Ivanov, he writes, great review. Coincidentally, this is about Famous Grouse, the original. Coincidentally, Famous Grouse was the favorite review of HRH. That's Her Royal Highness. I'm not sure what HRH means. HRH, Princess Margaret, and also Margaret Thatcher. One final taste here. Oh yeah, it just really reminds me of Teeling. Of course, that Teeling single malt, I believe, comes from, I think it comes from Cooley. It's delicious. Is it $95 delicious? Well, when I think about the fact that it's batch one, I say absolutely, it's great. Go for it. If you're interested in single malts and you are a connoisseur and you want to try different things, this is a definite buy. And if you can get a sample from a friend, I highly recommend it. Contact the distillery. They may be able to send you some. Okay? So again, that's Eau Claire Distillery, Alberta single malt whiskey. That's batch one. Very interesting. All right, so let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Eau Claire Distillery single malt Alberta whiskey batch one. Well, folks, it's going to be 86 out of 100. Yes, you heard right. 86 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Eau Claire Distillery single malt Alberta whiskey batch one. Great job, Eau Claire. I can't wait to see what's going to come next for you, because this is just amazing how great this whiskey is, considering it's your own barley and you've also bottled it all the way through, all those steps. Pretty amazing. Josh, again, thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate it, guy. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. We'll see you for the next review. That'll be something, what should I do? Something peaty? I think it's time for Pete. I know Bart from Scotch Test Dummies would love that. Pete, let's go with Pete. All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thanks for watching Whiskey Whistle. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to give this video a like and leave a comment down below. Be sure to stay tuned next time to join me, the host of the show, Mark, as I explore more whiskeys with you. Take care now, and we'll see you next time.